okay, I can't change anything about the situation. The only thing that I can control is the way that I respond to it, the way that I see it, the way that I perceive it.
We have these expectations that are going to happen. And then when they don't, we wonder why. And it's like, you were never in control to begin with.
I thought to myself, you need to figure out what you want, what you're looking for in a partner. But most importantly, I knew that I needed to work on me.
I think a lot of people are just blind to it. They're blind to their actions, what they're doing day to day, how they act towards their kids, or how these cycles in their life continue to repeat themselves,
right.
And they don't even see it themselves.
Would you keep using the phone that you, like your first phone that you ever had, like a flip phone? No, things change. So why wouldn't your identity change as you grow older and gain more wisdom?
I know what I was going to ask you. Actually, you are one of few women who has traveled abroad by yourself.
Yeah.
You went to Thailand. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember you told me about this trip. And tell the audience about this trip, why you took it, and like what impact that had on you, and the significance of traveling on your own.
So I'm actually glad that you asked why I took the trip, because for me, after my dad passed away, I had like a little boyfriend in high school, and then I had a best friend in high school who then we went on to date, and then that ended poorly, but then I would go into another relationship and they would last a while, but I always felt that I was accompanied. And so I think it was for my 25th birthday or my 26th, I don't remember, but one of the two. And I thought to myself, Sheryl, you need to be alone. Stop. Just relax. And I was kind of scared to be alone because I didn't really have anyone. I was living on my own always. And I said, best way to be alone, well, let me take a trip. But actually the trip started with, with the boyfriend that I had at the time, we had planned to go to the West Coast, and I wanted to drive down the Pacific Coast for my birthday in November of that year. And then August we break up, and I have 14 days off of work. And you know, that's hard to do. And so I said, what am I going to do with this time? So I started asking friends, do you want to go on a trip with me? Or no one could go. Everyone's like, Sheryl, I have a job. I said, maybe I just take my dog. Just me and my dog go, and we drive down the Pacific Coast, and I do what I wanted to do anyways. And then my friend Jenny, who's my traveler friend, she loves to travel. And she said, Sheryl, why don't you just go somewhere far? I said, ooh, where? She says, there's this company called Kontiki, and it's an age range of when you can go with them. So it's between 20 something to your lower 30s, 32 or 33. Only people in that age range can go on this trip, and you just all meet up together and you take a trip to wherever you choose. So I looked into it and I signed up for East Thailand, but I said that was, I think, a 7 to 9 day trip. And I said, I have all these days off. I'm going to go first alone, and I'm going to go to some cities that I'm not going to go with this group. And so I went, and I got there maybe around 3:00 in the morning, Thailand time. I went into a hostel because I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this for real. I'm not going to stay in hotels. I'm going to stay in a hostel. So I stayed in an 8-person hostel, got there at 3:00 in the morning, woke up at 5, met a girl in the bathroom so I could like go explore. She was traveling alone. I was traveling alone. We decided to go explore together. We ate scorpions on the street. We ate many interesting things. I have some videos of us negotiating with the men on the street, like, no, I'll pay $1 for your scorpion. And it was incredible. I stayed in hostels the whole time. Even one hostel it slept 4, and it was 3 guys and me. And I tell people now and they're like, Sheryl, what is wrong with you? But you know what it is? Everyone who's staying there is doing the same thing as you.
Yeah.
And I think that was the coolest thing. No one's trying to hit on you. No one's trying to do, and hopefully. I looked up everything. It was like $7 a night. So I was going to stay there. Anyways, I spend my birthday over there. It was either my 25th or my 26th. And the day of my birthday, I sign up to go elephant, not riding because that's frowned upon, but you can walk them, you can spend the day with them. And it was 3 other couples and then Sheryl.
If you told me that you were riding elephants, I'd be really pissed off right now.
Why? No, you wouldn't. I knew it. No, but it is frowned upon because it's not very ethical. But anyways, they don't treat them very well when they train them.
What's the difference between the elephants that you walk and the elephants that you ride?
Because you're not riding them. Because places who have you ride them, they train them poorly and they beat them up, basically. Poor elephants.
I can't laugh about this because then we're going to get canceled.
Yeah, you're going to.
I'm laughing about your story, but whatever.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead.
The fact that I had to say that.
Yeah.
It was a disclaimer. So I'm over there on my birthday alone, and it was the best thing ever. I got comfortable being by myself and being with my thoughts. While over there, I read a book called You're a Badass. That was, I think, when my book journey started of like self-help books and reading more. And it was very influential. But I tell everyone that I can, especially if women, if they're in their 20s and they either have a boyfriend or not, but especially if they don't have a husband and they don't have kids, I tell them, go take a trip by yourself. It is so worth it. You don't have to go abroad. You can go wherever you want. I don't know, Tennessee. But do it because it allows you to be more comfortable in your own skin and with your own thoughts, which I don't think a lot of people are comfortable with. And I know you are because you do things on your own too. But when I tell people that I go watch a movie by myself or I'll go eat by myself, everyone thinks it's weird. Mm-hmm. It's not the norm. The majority of people are uncomfortable with that. But I think if you can get comfortable with yourself, with your thoughts, being alone, there's growth in that.
Yeah, and it slows everything down. I mean, you're going on a trip, you're on your own, and there's no pressure. There's no outside forces telling you which direction to go in, what they want to eat instead of what you want to eat. It's just you.
Oh, and by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went skydiving.
While you were there?
During this trip. And everyone, speaking of people's opinions and whatnot, everyone was telling me, Sheryl, you're crazy. You don't go to Thailand by yourself, and you especially don't go to Thailand and skydive. Okay? But it was really cool because the people that I was skydiving with, they are also nomads. Not that I was a nomad, but they're nomads. They can go anywhere in the world and skydive and be a tandem skydiver with whoever is visiting the country.
So that's what they do.
Yeah. So I met a guy from Britain, and we became friends on Facebook, and like I see him every now and again, but it was the greatest experience. I almost missed my night train. I was taking a night train from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, and I slept on the train. It was very interesting, and it allows you opportunities where you don't feel comfortable and you're like kind of scared. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, but what if I do miss this train? I already checked out of my hostel. Where am I going to stay? And you just figure it out.
What advice or insights do you have for people, men or women, who are jumping from relationship to relationship and not having that time for themselves?
Not having that time for themselves because they choose not to?
Well, because they're just jumping. They don't have time to allow themselves to breathe a little bit.
Right.
And just like, what is it that I really want? What direction do I want to take in my life?
Yeah.
They're just thinking, I need this thing. Like,
right.
For instance, a lot of women step into a relationship, or a lot of women go into the dating scene just with this goal in mind of, I need to get married and have kids by this age, right? Or whatever, these societal constructs that we all want to fit into.
Yeah.
Like, what advice would you give to those women who just have this, I don't know, they feel that societal pressure. Yeah, it's the pressure.
Oh, yeah. So...
And I ask you because you're sitting with women in these chairs every day, and I'm sure you experience.
And we talk about this all the time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because when people learn that I'm 35, we're engaged, mm-hmm. and they ask me, when are you going to have kids? Mm-hmm. When are you going to get married? And for me, I've never, ever, 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 and I don't know why, but I've never felt pressure or have had a timeline where, and a lot of women do, I want to be married by 30, so then I can have kids by 32, and then I can have the 3 of them by 36. And they have it all planned out. And I didn't. I don't know if it's because of my spontaneity or because I am a little more relaxed and chill, that I don't feel pressure from other people. And so when people tell me, oh, but your clock is ticking, I actually find that offensive.
I think it's offensive too, but
because first of all, who are you? And secondly, I trust my body. I trust that if God wants me to have a child, whenever it happens, it will happen. And it'll be the most beautiful thing, because you can plan your life as much as you want. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen that way.
Yeah.
So again, I guess that comes from peace of knowing that everything that's meant to happen will happen on his timing, and it'll be perfect.
Yeah, there's an old Spanish cliche that says "we plan and God laughs."
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that's just instilled in my mind, because every time I look at this building that I just purchased, I had all these plans and we're gonna move forward, and next thing I know,
right,
we're redoing the plumbing and we're gutting the whole damn thing. That was not in my plans. I mean, Rebecca is pregnant right now. That was not in my plans right now.
She gonna reveal this before this podcast comes out?
Who knows? It doesn't matter. But
and we love that she's pregnant.
No, I love it. But as a man,
correct? Yeah.
As a man,
it wasn't in your plans, at least right now. It
wasn't in my plans for right now, and it was kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And then she spoke to the OB about it, and she's like, she just asked Rebecca last time she went in. They were like, has he gotten over it yet? And Rebecca's like, gotten over what? Yeah. She's like, all guys freak out right, like during the first trimester. So I think Rebecca felt a sense of relief, like, right. This happens. This is more common.
Yes,
it's just not discussed.
Right.
She just thinks she's dealing
funny.
with me. Yeah.
Right.
But it's crazy. So yeah, we think so many things about like business or about a relationship or about even a vacation. We have these expectations that are going to happen. And then when they don't, we wonder why. And it's like, you were never in control to begin with.
Correct.
You were never in control.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you expecting? Why? Stop expecting. Just live.
And I feel that when you release that control, life is so much better, because you're not upset when something doesn't go your way. I mean, we're human. We can be upset.
Yeah.
We're allowed.
Yeah.
But shortly after, you decide, okay, I can't change anything about the situation. The only thing that I can control is the way that I respond to it, the way that I see it, the way that I perceive it. So I think there's value in that. But you did ask me what I would tell someone if they were from one relationship to the next. And when it happened to me with that last boyfriend before that trip, I said, Sheryl, enough. He has feelings too. Like, get your shit together, basically, because I knew what I was doing wasn't fair. And I thought to myself, you need to figure out what you want, what you're looking for in a partner. But most importantly, I knew that I needed to work on me, because I felt that I was relying on someone else to give me what I had desired when I knew that I could give that to myself. I wasn't in the position at that point. And then that's where the journey just started. So I feel that our generation is one of the first generations to really take a hold on self-help, improving ourselves, and breaking generational ties and traumas. Now, rather than thinking, but that's how we've always been. My mom did that, or my dad did that. We have to realize that our parents instilled in us what their parents instilled in them. And their parents instilled in them. And it just goes back, and who knows how far back it goes. But if we don't stop it, first recognize it, and then stop it, and then change it for the generations going forward, it's just going to be a perpetual thing that occurs.
I think the first thing you said was recognizing it.
Yeah.
Self-awareness. I think a lot of people are just blind to it. They're blind to their actions, what they're doing day to day, how they act towards their kids, or how these cycles in their life continue to repeat themselves,
right.
And they don't even see it themselves.
Yep.
And so that's why, like, I tell people all the time, I don't make money off of therapy. Therapy is not like a big money maker for me, but I know that therapy can change people's lives. And have you been seeing a therapist before or no?
I have, when I was younger, yeah.
So to me, as an adult male, it has been such a tremendous help. Just because, again, I'm speaking to somebody kind of like this, but they're objective, non-biased. They have no opinions about my life, and they're trained to listen and ask the right questions to lead my own mind
Right.
to making decisions and coming to realizations, versus your friend, your cousin, your grandma, whoever, who's just break up with them. What you doing?
Yeah.
Get out of there. Oh, just take a trip.
Right.
Oh, you got divorced. Just have a party.
Divorce party.
Yeah. So it's just kind of wild that that's why I'm a big believer in therapy, because it's kind of wild the way that people, and I say people, even me, how we lack insight in certain areas of our lives that we're blind to. There's blind spots in your car and there's blind spots in your life. So yeah, for real. Like,
That was a good one. Write that one down.
but it's true. There's a blind spot in your car. There's blind spots in your life. Just recognize it and become aware that you don't necessarily know how the other person is interpreting your behavior towards them. And if they call you out, maybe they don't know how to call you out in a way that you are receptive to it rather than being defensive.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that, but that's all I got.
Well, in regards to recognizing, because I will say, with or without therapy, it's hard.
It's super hard.
And why is it hard? Because it sucks. Why? Because you have to look in the mirror and face things that you have purposely, without maybe some people even not noticing, pushed into your blind spot.
Yeah.
Right. And so it takes a lot of work in or out of therapy. But if you can go to therapy, amazing. And if you can couple that with your own alone time,
Self-reflection, for sure.
and breaking it down and sitting with yourself, actually. So for my birthday, it's a birthday thing. My birthday last year, my 35th birthday, just a couple months ago, prior to this, I had always wanted to go to a Tony Robbins event. And so he has several. And, they're always not like in this area. It's a long time. Now I have the business and I was by myself, as in the only employee. And I looked at his dates maybe 2 months before, maybe a month before. And his next one was starting in New Jersey on November 14th, which is my birthday. And I was like, this is it.
I'm going.
This is my sign. It's starting on my birthday. I'm going. Not only am I going, but I'm going by myself. And it was so amazing. Funny enough, I actually thought of you while I was over there.
Wow.
Because it's the mind. He spoke about therapy. He spoke about what we tell ourselves, how we identify ourselves. And just because we identify ourselves in a certain way doesn't mean that that's true, right? Because sometimes we decide at a young age, this is who I am. But, he actually mentioned, would you keep using the phone that like your first phone that you ever had, like a flip phone? No, things change. So why wouldn't your identity change as you grow older and gain more wisdom? Just so much. My fingers were hurting by end of day one, and it was 4 days. Yes, the whole time. It's impactful in more ways than I can even tell you. It's incredible.
It's funny because Max Lewis talked about the same thing, that he went to a Tony Robbins.
Did he?
Yeah. So as you read
Is it in the book?
It's in the book.
Oh my gosh, I need to meet this guy.
Super great. I mean, he owns Sushi Sake right here on Miracle Mile.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
But I also heard his name is not Max Lewis.
It's not. I don't want to disclose his real name.
Yeah, don't.
Super cool guy. Super cool guy.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to finish the book.
What else do we got? We talked about life. We cried.
Oh my gosh. It's hot in here. Spiked my drink with vodka.
How long have we been going? Can you check the time right behind you on this? There's a screen on this thing.
Which one?
On the, see where the cutter thing is right here?
Here?
Can you check the screen on it?
1 hour, 3 minutes, and 5 seconds.
Oh, that's not that bad. Oh, we got time. What do we want to jump to?
Well, talk to me about
Chapter 2.
Yeah, talk to me about what happened before you came in.
Oh, sheesh.
Because I do want to talk about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump into entrepreneurship.
Not a lot of people know what we go through.
Yeah, day-to-day little struggles, interpersonal conflicts, how to lead a team, how to make sure that you're maintaining quality, how you're choosing employees as you hire them. These are all things that are part of entrepreneurship that there's no course or class that prepares you for it. And it's really just what you need to do, right? It's just part of the role. So before I walked in today, story time, I'll make it short. Basically, and I'm not trying to trash talk anybody. Man. This is
Just say generalizations.
It could be that this thing could have happened to one of my friends.
My friend told me that this happened to him.
So I'm currently manning this podcast from right here in front of us, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm completely comfortable. My only concern is making sure that this shit is actually recording, which has me a little paranoid, but I'm just going to trust. And I was already thinking that there's other ways to back this up while we're here. But
okay.
Worst case scenario, we had a really great conversation.
Exactly.
Cheryl, great conversation.
See you later.
So before, had a gentleman who was working with me, basically looking out for the guy, man. Really, really trying to look out for him, trying to help him in his life. I came in the other day, sleeping on the couch. And listen, I'm pretty laid back as a boss.
Well, at work. By the way.
Yeah. Okay. It's 12 noon.
Oh, okay.
These lights are off, sleeping on the couch.
I want that job.
This is like number, I've already talked to him about, hey, make sure you try to sleep before you come to work. Try not to smell like weed when you come to work.
Basic things, right?
Be on time. Don't ask me to go home and work from home. Like, just kind of laying some boundaries. And this was after he was here for a little bit. I was like, look, I these are just simple rules. Let's go by it. So I walked in the room and he's sleeping. Walked out, took a deep breath, and then came back in and just said, hey, listen, bro, just go home. Just go home. And in fact, come back on Thursday morning. So I gave him 2 days off. Sent him home that day. Wednesday also, I was going to be at a different conference. So you don't have to come in. Cool. We'll figure this out. I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed. That's exactly what I said. Thursday rolls around, which is today. So last night I get a text. Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity. I found a better opportunity somewhere else. So I appreciate your time.
Impossible to find a better opportunity.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, completely possible to find a better opportunity, but completely disrespectful, unprofessional, and yeah, just unprofessional.
But let's talk about this.
Yeah, go for it, please. Help me, direct me here.
I'm going to direct you because I
set myself up.
Seem surprised.
And I shouldn't have been, because
Correct.
everybody else in this office would kind of nudge me and be like, hey, Adrian.
But without that.
Oh, I knew.
You didn't need anyone to nudge you.
But
he showed you.
Yeah, he showed me. And it's the same as a relationship. When you start a relationship, people are constantly showing you red flags, right? They're fucking waving at you and like, hey.
And you choose to ignore them.
And we ignore them because we believe in potential. We believe in the potential of someone.
Right.
And because we see it in them and we know what they're capable of and we want to help them and we want to rescue them. Let's be real. We are both in the healthcare field, and there's a part of us that wants to rescue people.
Yeah.
We want to save them from whatever is going on in their lives. And the older I have gotten, the more I realize I shouldn't, but I often fall back into that trap. But I don't think I want to stop being who I am as a result of people letting me down.
Right.
Because I know that there's a lot of people who do really take in like what I try to put out.
And hopefully more people than not, right? Which I think is probably the case.
It's probably more.
Yeah.
But you just don't, when it's so close to you in proximity is when...
Still hurts.
Oh, it hurts. So really that's all it is. I might have been angry this morning, but really it's more like it's loss. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's loss. So part of this is just a grieving process, right? Like I'm a little bit sad. Like I was trying to invest myself fully into someone. Whether or not they saw that value, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought they did. They gave me the impression, standing in here crying, telling me, thank you so much for everything you're doing for me. You don't know how much you're helping me. And then 2 weeks later to turn around and do that, it's kind of like, yo, I haven't disrespected you, mistreated you. I just set some boundaries and let you know, like, yo, business is business.
Right.
So yeah, but it's interesting talking about it now because I'm realizing in real time as I talk to you about it through these mics that are going into our ears that shape our thoughts,
brain.
that you start to realize like, oh shit, like, yeah, I'm just a little bit sad and I'm disappointed, and that's okay. Tomorrow's a new day,
right?
So it's part of entrepreneurship, where you're going to be let down by people, where you're going to choose the wrong people, and I think a big let me hit this right here, a big issue that a lot of people have, and actually I'm realizing you had it. A big issue that people have is...
I had an issue?
Yes, I'll tell you right now. The issue that you had was the fear the fear of hiring somebody new, the fear of bringing somebody into your space because you had been doing it alone for so long. Mm-hmm. And you and I both know in any business, you can't do it alone.
Right.
Alone, you can go fast, but together,
you can go far.
You can go far. You can go further. You can go far. You can go the distance. Where alone, you can't. You can't. There's only so much you can handle. And so we're very hesitant, especially entrepreneurs are very hesitant with that first hire because it feels like, oh, what if I hire the wrong person?
Right. Well, I'll tell you what my true fear was.
Let's hear your traumas.
No. My fear was wasting my time. And wasting my energy.
Yep.
In training someone correct. Mm-hmm. Or exactly exchanging energies and then they leave.
Yep.
And that's what I didn't want. And so I took on the journey to say, you know what, Sheryl, if you want better quality of life in your entrepreneur journey, which is why I went into this to begin with, so that I can have more time freedom. But now I'm so devoted and into it that getting pulled left and right and allowing it. Not only do I need to create boundaries, but now I need to have someone come in to help me and load off some of that. Mm-hmm. So hopefully I don't experience anything.
Oh, you will
soon. I know.
Yeah, you will. I mean, it's just a matter of time that you're going to continue to grow. You're going to hire somebody and different things happen. One of the girls that worked in the front desk, Vanessa, guess what? She picked up and she left. She went to nursing school. She went to accelerated nursing program. She's kicking ass. I text her every once in a while in the morning. Hey, hanging in there, doing all right, just touching base. But she left for good reason.
Right.
And if you're leaving for either growth or change or anything, or if you're leaving because you feel like leaving, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's the way that you leave, especially in a small business that I think has a lot of impact because again, it's such a small team and you have invested yourself in the people who work for you. You've imparted your knowledge, your experiences, what your expectations are. They're learning from watching you. They're learning about building a business in real time through watching you. The successes that you find and the events that you throw and your ability to deliver patient care, but then they're seeing the failures too when you screw up with something.
Which is not fun, but it happens.
What's the biggest failure you've had so far?
In business?
In business.
Ooh. The biggest failure.
Don't twist it into some positive shit.
No, I honestly, so whenever anyone asks me about the business or like how it's going, I always say it's weird. It's another thing that I have a peace with because I say it's hard.
But it's worth it.
But it's smooth is what I say. I don't say it's easy because it's not easy, but it's smooth. And that's how I feel the journey has been. Honestly, it's ridiculous. I haven't had something huge happen, thankfully, hopefully not. But I mean, I would just say the biggest failure is anytime I lose a client, which for me is hurtful too. Yeah. You know, whenever anything goes awry or not the way that it's supposed to, it hurts. You know, I put them on a skincare regimen and now they start getting acne when they didn't have acne before it. That hurts me because I'm like, now I'm causing, and it's one of those things that you don't know until you know, until you try. And thankfully, all I could say is maybe just some mishaps that happen with clients, but nothing enough that I could be like, yeah, that was a failure. Thankfully.
What's been your biggest success so far?
Taking the first step.
Amazing.
Okay, actually, I'll tell you for real. Definitely that, but also starting like at a microscopic level. So I'm a nurse practitioner. Anyone who starts a business, what do they start offering as a nurse practitioner?
What do they start offering?
Yeah. What is their main thing? Come on.
It's so vague.
Just one. You got it.
Care? I don't know what the hell.
As a nurse practitioner in aesthetics.
Oh, in aesthetics. Sorry. Oh, Botox.
Okay, exactly.
Got you. Oh, well,
I knew you'd know.
You're just like...
Sorry. You're like, care? No, I'm like, no, we're thinking too general.
In the world, on the earth, there's this thing. Go.
In Dubai. No, sorry. So in aesthetics, typically when a nurse practitioner thinks of opening an aesthetics business, the first thing that they offer is Botox. Injectables.
Yeah, injectables for sure.
And so I had a conversation with Renee my fiance, and he is a genius, literal genius, business, life, everything. Has a lot of wisdom. Awesome. And he asked me, what is one thing that you can start with that will get people in your door every month? And I said, hydrofacial. He's like, so that's what you need to start with. Now, what are the chances that I, as a new nurse practitioner in injectables, is going to get someone right off the street to trust me to inject their face? Not very high. You can trust anyone to do a facial on you. It's low risk, high reward. You're going to leave glowing. And then at that same time, I brought on Zeo Skin Health, which is the skincare brand that I carry. And those two, that was it. Game over. Why? Because everyone saw results. Everyone had glowier, more beautiful skin. And so starting somewhere where if you ask anyone else, they would say, why is Sheryl doing hydrofacials? She's a nurse practitioner. She's doing $200 hydrofacials. Trust me, I heard it. And I still hear it. But where am I now? And it's being able to, see where you want to go, but also not have any shame in starting small and starting in areas where maybe people are going to talk shit and not caring. I actually had this conversation the other day with someone when she was upset that she heard another provider talking shit about her. And I said, listen, what people say about you is none of your business. It's none of your business. You don't care. Like, they don't care. They're just talking shit to talk shit. So why give it any importance? And if I were to care what people said, I would not have done that. And I wouldn't be where I am today. Doing that allowed me to build trust and rapport with people in a way that you can't when you start with injectables. It's just different. I feel that my clients, we are family. Taylor, my esthetician, she, every time she comes in and she's like, Sheryl, that's your friend? I'm like, no, that's my client. And she's like, I feel like everyone's your friend. And yes, they are my friends because I know about their life. And every single time we come in, it's what's up with this person and that person. I'm seeing people monthly. I see them more than they see their friends. I'm seeing them at least 12 times a year, sometimes more if we're adding other procedures.
And for an intimate hour that you're with them.
Correct. And again, it's one of those things that is where the success is, creating those relationships. And that is what brought us here.
But that's what makes people think that that's too small. We're in a world of going viral. We're in a world of ribbon cutting and confetti and this
lights
and that.
And flashes. Yeah.
And that's slow and methodical.
And purposeful is the word.
But it's too slow.
But it's not.
It's not enough.
Says who?
I'm just being devil's advocate here. I'm just saying, like, that's the mentality that people have. Going back to like the value of these mics. It's not the views. It's something different. It's purposeful.
It's purposeful. It was the best thing that I did. Whenever anyone asks me, that's always my reply, that I started with hydrofacial. And as a nurse practitioner, who's doing that as a nurse practitioner? No one. No one's doing that. But I had the balls to realize what the end game was. And that's why I started there. And again, it was the best thing that happened. And Taylor has been a blessing because she's on the same page. She's super talented in what she does. My best friend the other day we were doing her laser, but a few days prior, Taylor had done her hydrofacial. And she says, Sheryl, you've been doing my hydrofacial for 3 to 4 years at this point. And I have to tell you that the transition from you to Taylor was seamless. And that is what I wanted. And so for her to say that, I was like, wait, say that again so I can record you. Because I was afraid of it not being that. But the fact that, everything is always a risk and a chance that you take. And I'm glad that I took a risk and a chance on Taylor, and it's happening this way, and it's thankfully the best way possible. And it hopefully continues to be that way. But that's what this is about starting slow and small, and then who knows where this is going to go.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah.
So how important has social media been for you? Because it goes back to judgment, and a lot of people are scared to put themselves out there. Did I already say this? I feel like I'm having deja vu.
You said it a little bit, but we didn't.
Oh, okay. So like, people are afraid of putting themselves out there. They're afraid of the judgment of others. You were just talking about the judgment of others.
Yeah.
and how it makes them hesitate about making a certain business move because of optics, even though internally you may know like why you're doing what you're doing, but then there's a judgment from the outside. It's the same with social media. Like we're using this thing that is free that can drive patients to our business.
And it does.
Because
so
why?
amazing.
Because people think that they know you.
Yes.
You told me when you came in here that some girl told you, oh, you're going to go do a podcast with Dr. Mesa. Oh, I know him. I love him, but I don't know him.
Yeah. I don't know him, but I know him. Yeah.
So this thing is free and so many people are hesitant. So what would you say to the new entrepreneur, nurse practitioner? It doesn't matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're a plumber, an electrician, a nurse practitioner. What would you say to that person that's opting out of using social media to drive business?
Well, great question, because I was that person. When I started Naked Aesthetics, there was no face. I had a sit down talk with a skincare rep, and he told me, Sheryl, you need to get on social media. And I said, absolutely not. I literally told him this. We were sitting in my house. I said, it's not going to happen. Look at my personal page. There's 5 posts. Mm-hmm. No one knows anything about me. I love it that way. Mm-hmm. I love privacy. I love...
You're on a podcast.
Yeah, but you know, there's still some aspects, right?
Of course.
So actually, I'm going to read to you, which I don't think I'll ever take off. My bio on my personal page is, in a world where everyone is overexposed, the coolest thing you can do is maintain your mystery. Mm. And I love that.
Eva's always a mystery girl. She posts little mystery pictures.
Like,
you
who's
don't
that
know.
person?
Who's that shadow?
Yeah, who's she with?
She always. That's why I always text her. It's my daughter I'm talking about. I always DM her. I'm like, you're so mysterious. Yeah. She's like, I know.
Yeah, and there's fun in that. But he tells me this, and he tells me my number one account in Puerto Rico posts all day, every day. It's like a novela, and everyone tunes in, and she sells the most of everything. She's the number one of hydrofacial. She's the number one of like all the skincares in Puerto Rico and everything. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's great for her. It's not going to be for me. And it was just something in the back of my head that kept reminding me of what he said and reminding me of what he said. Now, I think that a huge thing that anyone needs when they go on social media is confidence, right? Because the people who are hesitant are typically the people who don't have a lot of confidence, right? Because if you have confidence and you don't care what people think, then you do it.
So were you lacking confidence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Lacking confidence and uncertainty, right? So, well, lacking certainty. So I just said, I just have to start. And I don't know exactly which videos it was that I started with, but I just started with one. And then I quickly noticed that every time I showed my face versus a video of a hydrofacial or a video of a skincare, that video of me got more reactions from people on the internet than these other things. And I said, oh my gosh, people want to hear me. But really what took me over the edge was one day I was laying in bed scrolling, and I was looking at, I don't even know who it was. I was looking at someone's page and listening to her stories, 30,000 stories. And I'm just like listening to it. Okay, cool. And I thought to myself, one, what am I doing? How long have I been listening to this girl's stories? And two, if I'm listening to her stories, why wouldn't anyone else listen to mine? And that's when I was like, oh, I'm going to get on. And people will say, oh, but Sheryl, you're so natural now. Well, why? Because
repetition.
It's literally that. I mean, I can't imagine having to speak in front of people before, and now I can do it confidently.
This is what I do to people all the time. Whenever they're feeling like they're lacking confidence and they're scared, I'm like, hey guys, what's up? I'm here with Sheryl. We're shooting a podcast right now. And I'm just showing people how simple it is to jump on here, send a message using social media, promoting your practice, promoting whatever it is that you're doing in life, whatever you find important, and just using this tool that's in your hands that's free. And it's this simple. You pick it up, you speak into the camera, and you say goodbye.
But you didn't say goodbye.
So I do that to people. I grab their phone and they're like, wait, you're going to post that? And I'm like, yeah. Because you're competing with a million other pieces of content that people are putting out. You're not competing against the other aesthetics practice. You're competing against let me just think of something bizarre that somebody sent to me recently. People getting hit by cars or something.
Oh my God.
That's what you're competing with, right? Like something bizarre, or like people, I don't know, just having people slipping and falling, or
like
a woman
hamsters.
Twerking, or hamsters or cats. Like that's what you're competing against. So if your face gets out there enough times and people just stay on your particular page because they like your face, because they know you, because you're familiar, then all of us, and because you're not just selling them. Mm-hmm. You're not shoving your products down their throat. You're showing them your day-to-day operations, the people you work with, what your life is like, how you're working out, like the importance of the things that you find important in your life, you're sharing with them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, those things become contagious. And
to people that you don't even know.
You don't know. And they come up to you and they tell you, yo, you inspired me.
Yeah. I think that is the coolest thing.
Yeah, you just posted, I think yesterday, somebody was thanking you about posting their workouts because they were inspired.
Yeah.
I just, after the conference yesterday, I went to a happy hour before I got into traffic from Fort Lauderdale coming back down with these two girls that are BCBAs. They own a ABA therapy clinic, both of them. But one of the topics of conversation was the fact that I just drew up complete blank. What were we just talking about?
Ooh.
Come on. We were just...
Wait. Oh my gosh.
This is no good.
I have to rewind. Rewind. Wait. Getting yourself out there. Take a sip.
Yo, you see, this is when... Hold on, let me... Just... What happened? Here you go, Sheryl.
Oh, my skin is glowing. Good here. Naked aesthetics.
I was in... What the fuck was it? Jesus Christ. This is when you know you have too many things in your head. Well, anyhow, I think the moral of the story, well, I actually don't know. And
now I want to know what the conversation was with these two girls.
It was something to do with social media. Damn it, I don't remember. The judgment of others, social media, being scared. I don't fucking know. And I don't even feel that bad because you don't know either.
Yeah, me either.
Well, it's okay.
That's pretty messed up though, because it was like 30 seconds ago.
I don't know.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where I was going. I know we were having a conversation about it. Fuck. It's okay. We'll just move to the next one. What else about entrepreneurship has been difficult for you? Hopefully it comes back to me.
It will. I would say, you know, it's not even money. It's not like finances. It's the complaints, if there are any. And there are, of course. Mm-hmm. I woke up to one this morning and it kind of ruined my mood a little bit.
Was it a Google review or was it a direct complaint?
Thankfully not 5 stars.
Oh, okay, good.
No,
that'll go down too. No offense. No, not
Stop.
trying to, I'm not wishing.
No, it won't.
Sheryl, it takes one 4.9 to make you become a 4.9.
No. It takes 1 4-star to become a 4.9. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 1 4-star will make you become a 4.9. That's it. Okay. One. Sorry to tell you. I think
it's okay, but
we're like a 4.8 or 4.7.
But you also have a lot of good reviews too. So
I read some of them, my eyes start twitching.
Oh gosh. Okay. Anyways, so when someone's not happy, mm-hmm. you know, and it's funny because I got the message and I was like, oh, it's someone that you try to please and you try to please and you try to please and then they're not happy. And again, it's kind of a selfish thing too. And not, I don't want to say selfish, but you pride yourself in your work and you want everyone to be happy. And guess what? 99% of people are happy. So I had to remind myself, this is just 1%. And I get on the phone with her because I'm all about customer service. My gosh, like if I need to talk to you at 10 p.m., I don't care. I'll do it. It'll take 10 seconds. It doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But I want you to know that I'm here and we'll fix whatever, you know, we need to fix. And kind of hesitant to get on the phone because I don't want her to be angry or anything, but I actually got on the phone with her on the way here and it was perfect.
People just want to be heard.
Yes. And I get off the phone and I'm like, oh, thank God she's fine. She's not upset. You know, But those little bit of like roller coaster emotions is kind of what makes it hard sometimes. But that's it, thankfully.
Yeah. I think the best thing that you did was just pick up the phone and address it.
Yeah.
If there's anything I've learned in the last year or two, has been that I'm addressing it directly, unemotionally, immediately. I'm not going to say I'm going to call them later. If it's a problem, if I see a bad review go up, I'll respond to the review. I'll put my cell phone number on it. Like, I'll go out of my way.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people who have left a negative review initially, and then I reached out to them personally myself and told them, please allow me to do whatever I can to rectify the situation.
Right.
It's our fault. I take accountability. Let me fix it. They changed it, and they don't just remove that negative review. It becomes a 5-star review, and they'll write about that,
Positive
whatever happened.
yeah.
Exactly. And so I think just picking up the phone and calling people is huge.
And it's hard, right? Because no one wants to have these hard conversations or be told about the things that you did wrong or why they're not happy.
Who wants to have hard conversations in any aspect of life?
No one. Actually, I have a good one for you. A client was in my chair 2 days ago, and her new fiance, not that she had an old one, but they're recently engaged. His dad passed away the day that they got engaged. And this was maybe a couple months ago. So I asked her, hey, how's he doing? She's like, I guess good. I don't really know. I don't really talk to him about it. I was like, why not? And she's like, because guys don't really talk about that stuff. I said, but have you ever asked him? And she goes, no, but that's weird. I don't want to. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. And I said, but maybe you should, because who else is he going to talk to about it? You know, your home together is his safe space. His dad passed away.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter from what, how old he is. It's his dad. So maybe you should just ask. And she's like, I don't know. I think she left off saying like she wasn't going to ask because she was uncomfortable with it. That night, and I told her, because I know her from high school and she knows my story. And I said, listen, you know, I would appreciate if my partner had asked me. And so it was either that night or the next day, she said, hey, I asked him and I'm so glad that I did. Thank you for saying that. And, you know, sometimes even that you're so close to these people, you don't want to impose your opinions or your views on them. But my gosh, when you give those little nuggets and it positively impacts not even just them, but the person that they're with, that you have really no connection to, I think that's amazing.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the coolest assignments I used to do as a professor was having, especially to the any students, was having them really find out about their genogram, like in terms of from a mental health standpoint. So just ask, and that involves talking to your parents, talking to your uncles, talking to different family members, and just kind of hearing their story about their life. And it's just a questionnaire, but to kind of know like, oh, this divorce, what was the quality of this marriage? You know, what's your relationship with your individual kids? There's always severances within the family. Why did those severances happen? Drug addiction, et cetera, et cetera. And people at first are like, I don't want to ask. Like I kind of know a little bit, but
you don't want to dig.
And then you start talking and they just say, hey, I would tell them just approach their family. If they don't feel comfortable answering, just say, I don't feel comfortable. And students would come back and say, wow, I just opened up this whole topic with my mom where now I feel more of a bond and I understand where she's coming from because I understand her past. And it's something I talk about often is that I understand why my dad is somewhat separated from me, or not separated, but like emotionally not available. His mom left him with his brother when he was 7 years old, right? So it was just his dad, my abuelo, rest in peace, and then his biological mom. So I didn't know my grandmother, who I call abuela now, wasn't my biological grandma until I was like, almost in my mid-20s. I was like, why are all my cousins like black? I was just, you know, they got good tans. But, but she's still my grandma. That doesn't matter.
Oh, 100%.
But it's interesting to see how my dad doesn't have this strong sense of attachment with, the only one is with my brother because he works with him day after day.
Right.
So the more that you dig into the moral of the story is the more that you dig into your family, the more you start to understand not only them, but how they respond to different situations and circumstances that happen to all of us.
But isn't it helpful even for you as his son, who had you not dug or cared to understand what he went through as a child, right? You could have taken the stance of anger and resentment
100%,
of why isn't my dad like all the other dads?
Why isn't my dad the way I see them on TV? Why isn't he playing baseball? Why isn't he at my game? I could conjure up all of that. And sometimes it still surfaces.
Of course, we're human.
Still surfaces. Like, hey, Dad, I called you and I was like, yo, this is important. Show up. And you didn't.
Yeah.
But the same way I took that photo of him in the tire shop, that's where I go to see him. And I have accepted, I'm not always happy with it, but I have accepted that that is just who he is. And when I go there, he's never like, hey, motherfucker, you haven't been here in a while to visit me. Hey, Adrian, what's up? Gives me a hug. Do you want to get una malta? Get una Coca-Cola? It's just his norm, right?
Right.
Time to go?
No.
Oh.
Sorry.
So it's exactly what you're saying. The more that you understand your family members, the more that you accept them as they are instead of expecting them to be somebody else. We can all expect, and guess what? You're going to be disappointed.
But so when you see someone who could change, right? So especially someone in your family where that's who they are, but my gosh, they could be so much better if they realized, you know, what their traumas were and they, I guess, like looked at it head on and they can improve. You can try, but you can't. So you either have to take that point of, okay, I'm going to accept them as they are, right? I had a friend who was very frustrated with her mom for years because as much as she spoke to her mom and said, hey, mom, do this, do that. You could be a better person by doing this. Don't react that way. And she would always revert and always revert until one day she said, I'm trying to change her. She doesn't want to be changed. So I'm just going to accept her. I was like, wow. And then she also hit me with another one that said, you have to know your people. And when you know them and you know your employee is sleeping and not doing what he needs to do, then you can accept it and say, you know what? I'm not really that surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And let me just move on.
Exactly. And then you have an option of how you're going to respond to that, whether it be a family member or an employee or whatever situation comes to you. Where else were you going?
What?
I said, where else were you going with that?
No. It's just.
Make sure this is off.
No, go ahead.
No, just make sure it's off there.
It's but it's good because I think a lot of people constantly have expectations of others. And number one, they expect or assume without communicating, which I think is the number one cause of friction or interpersonal conflict in relationships, friendships, etc. It's just communication. And then it's being willing to listen to the other person and understand their perspective. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but like in a relationship, don't go into a relationship expecting to change the person. You're not going to change them. The same potential that I see in an employee doesn't mean they're going to meet that potential that I see from them. The same as a partner. Just if you love them for who they are and what they're bringing to the table, and you're willing to go through the ups and downs of life with them, then be with them. But if you're getting with that person saying, oh, they have the potential to be someone, yeah, you're going to put a lot of pressure on somebody who probably doesn't want it.
And stress even on you because the changes aren't going to happen the way you want them to or even at all.
Yeah.
And that's not going to end well.
Yeah, what's that worth?
Nothing.
We went from entrepreneurship to this. You see?
Again. It's typically how it goes.
What's been the most difficult thing besides hiring the first person? I guess what other obstacles, either from purchasing a machine or I don't know, what are the biggest things in aesthetics that people run into that you're kind of like, it seemed complicated up front, but then on the back end, it was like, oh, okay, that's pretty simple.
Figuring out what your next move is. So in aesthetics, there's so much to offer. And there's so many companies and there's so many products and things that you can, again, offer as a service. But if you don't figure out, one, who your clientele is, who your ideal clients are, and two, what they're seeking then how do you make the next move? So for me, buying the BBL Moxie, which is $250,000, a device that is a huge deal to purchase, I had some fear, but I was very confident in the purchase. Why? Because I knew that device, one, is the best. I wasn't going cheap, and I wasn't going to try and solve a problem by going the easier route by getting something that was way less, because there are options out there that are way less, but this was the best technology. And two, I knew that it was a great purchase and decision because I knew that it was going to solve a lot of my clients' problems, right? People come to me with a problem, seeking a solution. And so I don't sell anyone. I just offer them the solution. They can take it or not. I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to educate you and inform you on what you can do to improve whatever complaint you have. And so just making sure that you know which direction to go, because you start and you're like, well, I need to offer everything. No, you don't. Do you know how many times many people that you and I know say, Sheryl, why aren't you offering weight loss? There's so much money to be made.
There's so much money to chase the dollar. Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure there is, but guess what? It's not my thing.
Yeah, you're not interested.
I don't like it. Kind of don't believe in it. I will say, and it's controversial. I do think that there is a time and a place for it, but I think people are slinging medications like it's...
Yeah, without taking care of the other behavioral aspects that exist with weight loss, protein intake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Again.
Maintaining muscle tissue.
All those things.
Yeah.
Talking about the basics, right? So if you come to me and you tell me, Sheryl, these fine lines on my forehead bother me, and you have a limited budget, and you can only do skincare or you can only do Botox, I will tell you to do the skincare. Do I make less money selling you the skincare? 1,000%. But why do I do that? Because I can go to sleep at night knowing that I gave you the best recommendation. Because if you do skincare, you're going to do it twice a day, every day for 30 days. That's 60 opportunities. Botox is a Band-Aid. It is not going to solve your problem. It'll make it better, then it wears off, and then everything will come back again. But if you create that collagen and that elastin just with simple skincare, which you can with the right skincare, then you're going to maybe think twice about having to do Botox, which to me, I don't care, which is why I think I do so well, because I'm not here to upsell you on all these other things that I offer. But if you focus on the foundation, right? So if someone is overweight and they've tried everything, then please, by all means, use the tool. Go ahead. Take your GLP-1s. But if you're not even doing the basics, absolutely not. One thing that I don't feel for people is sorry. Okay, because I never wanted anyone to feel sorry for me and what I went through. And so when there is a method of getting things, whether it's financial or physical, whatever, and you don't follow it, but you try to take the easy route, I don't reason with that at all. So I said, I absolutely not. First of all, it's going to take away time from the people that I actually like treating. So skincare, facials, injectables. It's going to take away time on my schedule. And I don't agree with it. Plain and simple. I respect everyone's decision. Yeah. I will say that. I respect everyone's decision. I do not judge you. I have a lot of clients who are on it. And I just give my 2 cents of just please make sure that you're eating, intaking all of the protein that you need to, and that you're working out. Because you're going to lose a lot of that muscle if you are not. You need muscle mass. And that's it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. In terms of the GLP-1s, which is like the Wegovy's, the semaglutide, et cetera, the Ozempic, I think a lot of people see it as it's almost like the Botox. It's a Band-Aid.
Correct.
Right? But I will say that it can be a great tool to complement getting to get motivated because you see the weight loss coming off a little bit faster.
Right.
But I think it's extremely important to still muscle build, have a ton of protein intake, and not deplete yourself, because all it's going to do is work backwards, where if you waste muscle tissue from just cutting your appetite, cutting cravings, and cutting calories, all of a sudden you're going to realize that you've lost all this weight, but so much of it is loss of muscle tissue, which drives metabolism. So now we're slowing down metabolism. You get off the Ozempic, you have less muscle tissue. You're going to start storing more fat as you go. And so you're moving backwards. The whole point as we age is to maintain as much muscle tissue as possible, because no matter what, we lose muscle tissue as we age. And so if you're taking the substance that helps curb your appetite and it makes you feel better because you're judging yourself based on a number, a very broad number, your weight. It doesn't tell you muscle tissue, muscle weight, skeletal muscle, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, anyhow, I got a better question for you. You are on a team of 4 different practices: Zobio Health with Alessandra, Rever Wellness with Mimi, Rebecca Juliao, Injectology with Rebecca Juliao, and then
baby mama.
And my baby mama. Now gonna be my baby mama. Right? And then yourself with Naked Aesthetics. You guys are what would be competitors in the same space. But you guys are together in a group chat where you're constantly discussing business ideas, and just talking to each other on a peer basis and actually helping each other along the way. That's not common. And I've told this to Rebecca, and I don't think I've said it to you, but I'm telling you now, it's very uncommon because most people would kind of be cutthroat. How have those relationships and that WhatsApp group helped you as you have moved along?
So more importantly, in realizing again that we're not alone, right? Because we can go home and talk to our partners all day about what we're doing and you guys don't know. You know, it's a different, even both of you owning businesses, it's 2 completely different businesses. Completely different. Maybe you can talk about finances in a certain aspect, but your overhead is different from her overhead or whatever. But we all know exactly what we're dealing with. And of course, in different aspects too, right? Because we do offer different things. But I remember starting the group and I didn't even know Alessandra. I knew Mimi because we worked in the ER at Children's together. And then I met Rebecca from Shadia Cardozo.
There you go.
Exactly.
Your last name.
And first of all, let's talk about Rebecca, because I met Rebecca because I was interested in BBL Moxie and the practice that she was working at had brought it on. And I messaged her and I said, hey, I want to go over and talk about this to see if it's good for me. And the moment I meet her, she doesn't know me. I don't know her. I know that she's your girlfriend. And she tells me, why aren't you offering Botox? That's literally the first thing she asked. And I said, well, because I need to finish my training. Did you get trained? Yes. Are you treating patients? No. Why? Oh, because I need to feel more comfortable. And she says, set up a training right now. Get your models and we'll do it together. And I said, okay, but the only thing that I asked for is that you come back in 2 weeks, please, because I need to see, you can, which I had done before. You inject someone, but then you never see them again.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, they're models. They're, I don't know where, in Hialeah. Nothing wrong with that, but.
Yeah, I'm from Hialeah. Thanks a lot. Born and raised. Thanks.
And I wanted to be there with someone who could say, okay, this is the result. And now how do we improve it? Or it looks perfect. Okay, let's review what we did and how we got there. And I wanted that follow-up. And she is a literal angel from earth. I tell her all the time, you are an angel. How much you give to people is insane. And she gave to me on someone who was less than a block away from her and taught me and allowed me to feel comfortable so that I could start offering injectables, Botox, and even Sculptra after that. But it's been incredible because when you come to that space, knowing that, okay, yeah, they could be my competition, but you don't see them that way, then it's not there. But not everyone is like that. You may have one or someone on the outside who thinks, oh, well, maybe I don't want to tell them everything because whatever. But everyone knows. You can talk to me. You want to know my numbers? I'll tell you my numbers. If it's going to help you and you're going to use it for good, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what's reality and what's not in my experience because, again, I want to help you because I wish that I could have had someone like that front and center to be explaining to me that this is how it goes and this is what you can expect. But it's great knowing that in all the day-to-day processes. So what I dealt with this morning, sent a screenshot to Alessandra because she can help me reason too and say, okay, she asked me, so what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. I told her I'm going to make it right. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's just nice to know that we're all dealing with the same thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that you feel, or some people feel like you're a threat to them, right? And I tell people all the time, I can open my playbook to you. I can tell you exactly what I've done. It doesn't mean you're going to execute, and it doesn't mean it's going to go exactly the way it happened for me.
Right.
It's going to be different. I can consult you. I can help you. I can guide you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean in 2 months you might have to come back because your problem is going to be different than the ones I've had.
Yeah.
But I just think it's interesting because, I don't have that relationship with anyone within psych mental health. I have a lot of people who come to me to ask me questions. I don't really have somebody. All the people who are bigger than me, I don't have access to them.
Mm. Do you have someone who's similar?
No, I think right now, and it's just not because they don't exist. It's because I just don't have relationships with them.
Okay, but a question, because I'm going to age myself really quick.
Go for it.
I love Facebook groups.
Facebook groups are awesome.
Are you on Facebook?
I am.
So there's a medical aesthetics owners group, and there's maybe like 900 of us, which is not a lot because I'm sure there's way more. And those people are amazing. And I have learned so much, even just by reading. I read people's responses, what they've gone through. There's a book called Profit First.
Profit First. I've heard so much from Rebecca about profit. She's like, you just need to implement Profit First.
Yes. I tell everyone that is willing to listen, you have to read Profit First if you own a business. If you can read it before you open your business, even better, which is what I did, because you can start from scratch. But it's still possible. No, it's still possible because he still talks about, you know, experiences in that way where you can implement it as your business is there. But anyways, I learned about Profit First from these groups, and I've learned so much over and over. And it's funny because I'll tell my employees or anyone, I'm like, oh, my pen pal in Georgia, it's a girl named McKenna.
Yeah. But you talk to her all the time.
Yeah. She has a business. It's called Renewed Aesthetics. And she'll hit me up and she'll say, hey, Sheryl, what will you do with this client? And she tells me, I don't have anyone up here that I can bounce ideas back and forth with. I've never met this girl. I see her on Instagram. I feel like I know her.
Yeah.
And
it goes back to that.
Yeah. Social media.
I just remembered. I think that's where I was going earlier.
What? Oh my gosh.
The two girls that I was at happy hour with, she saw me with my flamingo shirt at the conference, and she's like, Adrian.
No.
Yeah. So, and then we ended up sitting down and having conversations about possibly partnering to start a separate business together.
Wow.
Because of social media. And when we left, I said to her, nice to meet you. She's like,
you too.
No. She said, you're right. This is the first time we meet in person.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, that's crazy. It is kind of wild because you feel like you're connected to these people. Yeah. So that goes, I think that's where I was going before. But anyhow, we come back to here and now.
Connections. And at least you made that one, right? Because they own a business that you want to.
That I'm interested in for sure. I'm interested in the way that they're helping people and both sides of it. I'm interested in the way that they're helping people and families, and I'm interested in the margins that brings.
Yeah.
If done correctly.
Right.
So it's the same. It's healthcare, insurance-driven business.
Which is not easy.
It's not easy.
I don't even know. And so I don't think I want to know.
Let's educate people real quick. I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 more topics we'll cover just to not bore the shit out of you guys. But number 1 is the insurance-driven model versus a cash-based model.
Which is my favorite.
Yeah. Cash-based model is going to be easier for aesthetics because obviously nothing is covered via insurance. But for me, mental health, I started as a cash-based practice at the very beginning. As I was getting credentialed, I was like, oh, let me see if I could get people to just pay out of pocket. And I realized very quickly that if insurance is involved and people already are carrying the insurance, they want to use their insurance. They do not want to pay out of pocket.
Rightfully so.
Despite not understanding that they may have a $5,000 deductible that they'll never meet. So either way, they're paying out of pocket regardless. But people don't understand that until they...
But are they paying a lower price?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
But you will lose a lot of customers at the front end just by saying, oh no, we don't take insurance.
Yeah.
And that goes for a lot of aspects of healthcare, even though people don't realize. I mean, not so much here, but in certain practices like primary care, right now, what they're offering, no offense to any primary care people out there.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you. But like the system is not geared towards somebody who wants to optimize their health. It's geared towards somebody who wants to be able to breathe and have a heartbeat.
But as you posted the other day, unfortunately for these primary care practices, they are being driven and put in a lane by the insurance companies. So those are the people who are making decisions.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I mean, Alessandra, Mimi, and Rebecca all offer. No, yes, but they all also offer functional medicine.
Correct.
And so, people ask me, who's your primary care doctor? I'm like, them.
Pick one.
Yeah, because they're going to really dive deep. So right now, I did Alessandra, I did Rebecca, and this year, le toca a Mimi.
Okay.
So Mimi is doing my background now and getting tested for cancer. And it's all very expensive. Super expensive. But I told her, she's like, it's going to be X amount. I don't know if you want to do that. And I said, listen, I'm 35 years old. I don't want to be 50 and finding out something that I could have figured out at 35 years old. To me, money will come and go. If I can invest it now, because that's what it is. It's an investment in knowledge. And then you can do whatever you want with it later. But if you don't even find out, what is the price later?
Yeah.
Way more. The price of health.
Not only that, what we're seeing a lot amongst our friend groups is that a lot of the women are having trouble with fertility, right? And these are women who have been placed on birth control for years and years and years and years. Decades. Since, you had your period? Birth control.
16, 15,
and
whatever.
That's it. And so when you do a regular dive, when you go to your PCP using your insurance and they look at your hormones, they're like, within the normal range. Normal range. Normal to who? Normal to any human between the age of, 16 to 70 or something like that. It's not individualized care.
Correct.
All right. So it's such a broad range. But then you go to some individuals like Rebecca, Mimi, Alessandra, who do functional medicine. Then you start to realize it's not just those superficial labs. They do labs, basically categories within those labs that we never even looked at in school. Because I look at the labs and I'm like, wait.
I don't even know what that is.
I taught at the University of Miami, health assessment, pathophysiology, pharmacology. These labs, I don't know what they are. These supplements that you're recommending, I have never seen them. And they're not priced too high. So why don't we know about this? Why? Because it's not part of the insurance-driven model that also is hand in hand with big pharma. And I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but nobody is telling you to go work out at 6 a.m. or 5. I don't want to do 5 like Sheryl. I'll do 6 a.m.
No, I do 6. I wake up at 5.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll do 6. But they're not telling you all these things that you should be doing now there's so much information that we don't know what's true or false anymore. And so people are falling into gimmicks. But long story short, invest in your health and your healthcare. Find somebody who knows what the hell they're doing that can look at your labs a little bit deeper, because a lot of you guys are coming here to my mental health practice wanting something to help with your depression and anxiety, and you're not seeing that your vitamin D is on the floor, that your estrogen is skyrocketing, that as a woman with low testosterone, you have no sex drive. Like, these are all issues that we're seeing over and over again.
Yeah, the thyroid is out of control.
It's shot. Yeah.
Again, foundations.
And
we started talking about this because I wasn't going to offer GLP once.
That's right. Yeah. What was the second part of that?
I don't remember.
So this is what happens on a podcast show.
Jumping train tracks.
Yeah. Unless you have some sort of agenda, which is cool too, right? You can have an agenda. You can have your set list of questions that you ask people, and it's cool because then you could always use that as a reel later to show what is love to you. Love is, you mix it up between a bunch of people. But I had one more thing and I don't remember, and it was about entrepreneurship.
Well, I'll give you one.
Go for it.
What was your biggest failure?
Shit. My biggest failure was not starting sooner. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to give you some
wow.
No, I'm not going to give you some bullshit cliche answer.
I also think that everything is perfect timing. So
I've left money on the table. I just thought about this the other day. The first year, I think, and I was writing it down, and I'm sure it's in my phone. I'm going to go through my phone. The first year I left like 12,000 on the table. The next year I had to.
But in what way?
Insurance issues, billing issues, being audited by an insurance company. That was the second or third year. That was $30,000 that they just ask you. So think about this. You've seen, I saw the hard blink. You've seen the patient, you've provided the service. So this is the problem with the insurance driven model. The patient comes in, you check their insurance, you see the patient, you wait 15, 30, 60 days, 90 days sometimes to get paid for that encounter. By that time, you could have seen the person 3 times. On the 90th day, you're trying to figure out why we didn't get paid back here. And they're like, oh, no. You used the portal to check their insurance? No, it looks like their insurance hasn't been valid since like this date. But wait, the portal is yours.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're just not going to get paid. So you've not gained revenue seeing that patient, and you've also paid a salary.
Right.
It's a loss on both ends. So that year was, at least on the insurance side, was a $30,000 loss. And when I did the math, I was like, oh, this was more like a $45,000 or $50,000 loss. Last year, we left $140K on the table. Billing.
Through billing.
We got backed up on billing. We just hired a company to handle the whole billing side.
Good.
It's the cost of doing business and the cost of learning.
Yeah. But it's also priceless, right? Because at least you found out and now you can.
Oh no, the way I look at it long term, right? Because I could beat myself up over like, oh my God, I lost $140,000. I'm like, well, in the course of my career, let's say if I had this business another 20 years or I sell it, whatever. In 20 years, if I pay 140, I paid 7,000 or 700. I don't even know right now. I can't do math.
What do you mean?
Over the next 20 years, for 100, holy shit, yeah, $7,000 a year. So I'm paying a tax for the next 20 years for $7,000 to learn that lesson. But then the hope is that like whatever the growth is from here to there will
exponential.
Will blow that out of the water, and it's a mistake I'll never make again. So it's just like the cost of doing business, and you can't get caught up in that failure and that loss because it'll eat you alive. And it's just like any failure or any loss in our lives where it can't consume you.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything.
You just realize it and then you let it go.
Somebody told me about the movie Inside Out. I never seen part 2.
Know, apparently everyone loves it, especially number 2. I've never seen the first one.
No, the first one's awesome. I haven't seen part 2.
They say it's even better.
But my friend said that the girl with anxiety, whenever she gets anxiety, like a little bingo ball comes down. And then the advice that she got was like, this thing that's causing me so much stress, just throw it to the back. So it's like a bunch of balls that are back there, just fucking boom, fling it.
Next.
Yeah. And so it's kind of true. You kind of.
How many balls you got back there?
Sheesh. I don't even know. A lot, but I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about, our time is the most valuable thing we have. And right now, both of us are sitting here across from each other, and our businesses are functioning on the back end, and we're generating revenue while we're doing something that we chose to do and that we enjoy doing.
That's called freedom.
That's called freedom. Freedom.
The American dream. Right. And it's funny because when I hired Kiara and Taylor, I said, I want you to be in control of your time too. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to be here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Who likes that?
Nobody.
No. So let's give you what you need and some, that you're happy. You can come to your job, do what you love, and then go enjoy life. And that's how it should be.
Amen. I want to give a huge shout out real quick to the people that work here under this roof, because I don't think I do it enough. Right now I have Megan and Stephanie at the front desk. And then I have a team of Colombians that are in Cali, Colombia. And I can't even, could I name all of them right now? I don't want to screw it up. So I don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah, exactly. Be safe.
All of you, the whole team out there in Colombia. Daisy, who's over here. Lily, who's manning the ship, who's basically in control of operations here. Like I can't.
La Boricua.
La Boricua. I can't say enough about them, their efforts, how they look out for me, their loyalty, and how they kind of over the years have realized like, oh, this guy he's real. Like what? how he presents himself is how he is. And so, and I love them for who they are too, right? I'm not trying to change them or mold them. And I think this team that I have here, if I could take them forever, for as long as I can, until they decide to leave, guys, you have free will. Don't go. Please don't go. Yeah, it's really cool when you build that team. So I'm happy for you that I can see you guys on social media, and I'm like, they got a little special thing going on.
We do. And it's cool because Taylor's not Latina. Mm-hmm. And so you just never know, like. Oh,
I forgot to mention Lena. I'm sorry. Lena, social marketing, social media marketing. She's out there in the streets. I love you, Lena. All right. Sorry.
She's not Latina like Kiara and I are, but my gosh, we mix so well. Mm-hmm. She should basically already speak all the Spanish she can now, but thank God that my fears were for nothing, because I think, and it's, by the way, really cool. Kiara, Taylor, and Nicole's my content girl. They all came to me. Mm. And
how did they find you?
So Nicole, we as in me, Renee, and Renecito, we were in Japan, and I saw an email from her. And I don't really like solicitors, but Nicole emailed me about social media, and it was something that I had looked for in the beginning of the year, but she reached out at the end of August or mid-August. And you know why I met with her?
Why?
Because we have the same last name.
That's it. You were like, who is this person?
I was like, Nicole Hidalgo? Mm-hmm. There's not many Hidalgos out there. So I said, okay, we're going to meet. We met on a Thursday, and I said, can you start tomorrow? And that was September 1st of 2023.
That's awesome.
And we're still together. She's amazing. We both have grown together, which I think is even more fun, because she had just started her business earlier that year. And then Kiara messaged me on Instagram randomly asking me if I was hiring. She was a medical assistant. And that was in the summer. And I said, listen, not right now. I eventually would like to. Reach back out to me in August. She did. I dropped the ball, but I could not stop thinking about her. And I said, I need to contact her. I didn't contact her until November. She had already gotten another job. And then she tells me I would still like to meet. We met, and shortly after, she's like, take me. And then Taylor also, we were just brought together, and I think that's even more powerful. I think that you attract with the energy that you bring and you emit, even through social media. Mm-hmm. Like that person, my client, who doesn't know you but loves you. Yeah. She doesn't know you, but she feels your energy. She feels your authenticness. Mm-hmm. And so I encourage you to get back on your podcast. Okay. This was meant to kickstart you too.
Thanks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because it feeds you.
Yeah.
And I know it does, in more ways than one.
Yeah. I'll tell you how it feeds me. I'm not engaging in patient care. I haven't for almost 3 years now.
Which congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And it's been awesome. But I think, like I said, sometimes you're on an island, because as a business owner, you're the visionary, and you're thinking about numbers, and you're thinking about all these different things, and the ability to sit down and do this is just so rewarding, and it rewards you in other ways that I'm going to stop preaching to you, but
yeah. But even I think it also goes back to us being nurses, because what did we do? We were at the bedside.
Oh, pediatric ICU. I was there at the bedside taking care of a kid for 12 hours, engaging with the family, constant conversations. Yeah, I'm hanging a drip, right, and I'm repositioning the patient, and I'm hanging some sort of drug, but all in all, yeah, you're engaging with a human. That's the element that always called me, was the human element. That's why I did mental health instead of anesthesia. And shout out to my CRNAs. You guys are killing it out there.
They really are.
Yeah, they're really killing it.
Yeah.
But that's not, it just wasn't for me. I need this.
Yes. Which is why I went and did FNP, because it was the same thing. Yeah. I mean, we could start 4 times the salary.
Yeah, huge.
Being a CRNA,
crazy.
It's huge, but I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to develop that long-term relationship.
Now that I think about it, I could have just worked like 1 or 2 days as a CRNA and talked to whoever I want.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Man, I messed up.
And still started a podcast.
Damn it, Rachel, you're right.
We love Rachel.
Yeah,
she really
Rachel.
is killing it.
Shout out to Rachel Juliao.
Yes.
The Juliao sisters. This was really cool.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that I didn't cancel. There was a small part of me yesterday that was, you know how you're on the fence about something because other things are going wrong?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm a man of my word. I told her this day, and I have to stop because I was kind of putting pressure on myself.
Why?
Because it's much more comfortable. I'm risking it right now. What if none of this is recording, right? I don't have somebody back there I have to set this up in a way where I can visualize this. I don't mind switching the cameras here. It's not a big deal. But I was coming up with these different excuses for myself. And when I stopped, I said, well, what else do I have planned for tomorrow? To worry about the building and the construction workers and the plumbing?
That's going to be there regardless.
They're going to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here. I'm going to worry about something that's going on in the office. I said, no. Let me just sit down and just have this conversation and just show her how cool a podcast is. That's the pressure I put. I was even like, even if this is the most superficial thing and we don't ever
cry.
Crying we did. If we never post this, right?
Yeah.
If we just decided that was a cool warm up, I really enjoyed it. Adrian, you know what? Don't put it up. Cool.
Yeah.
But I just wanted you to feel this, especially with these.
I like it.
Because this is a little bit different.
Let me try.
Like you're not in that tunnel anymore. You don't hear the feedback of your voice.
Ah, I do see the difference.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I love this right here.
I feel like I'm in a 3D movie or something.
And for some reason, you just zone in right here. Like there's nothing else. I've heard kind of the door close out there.
I didn't.
But I'm...
Yeah. No, it makes a huge difference.
So
doesn't look good for the hair, but it's fine.
You're all right, man. You're all right. Come on.
No one's looking at the hair.
Nobody's worried about hair. Most people are going to listen to this. Most people are going to listen to this on Spotify if they get through the whole thing. Congratulations, you made it. What a roller coaster.
We're honored.
I don't even have a name for this podcast anymore because I don't even care about the name, frankly. But if you are still on this ride with us, I want to say thank you to those of you who are listening. I hope you gained some value, some insight, and that we imparted something in you. We planted a seed of hope, of love, of forgiveness, for understanding, for business. Take a second to understand the humans around you. Know about their experiences and what they've been through. And take some time to sit down with a friend and have a conversation. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for not selling me out. More importantly, because I had this on my calendar and I was coming. So.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go anywhere, but it was just that moment where we...
Yeah, where you're thinking it's a lot right now and maybe I could just push this off.
Yeah, maybe I could push this off. And it's
yeah.
like, if you just get it done, you'll realize that that's the thing that's going to alleviate everything else that's going on around you. Just for that little bit. And then I'm kind of refreshed now. My mind is probably going to work a lot better than it was before you walked in.
Yeah.
And so I'm probably going to make better decisions as a matter of the fact that we took the time to sit down, disengage, and now I can go back to it with just like, I don't know, just refreshed. It's a reset.
That effect on people. What can I say? It's the laugh.
It's not the laugh.
It's so annoying. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to hear this laugh in your ears and you're going to be like,
oh yeah, you're gonna listen to yourself.
Oh, for sure.
And you're gonna be so annoyed that you're not gonna want to listen.
No, I'm gonna listen to it.
And then somebody else is gonna listen to it. Or you're gonna be like, why did I say that? Or I didn't say that correctly. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Well, thank you. This was a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
And I can't wait to get started on my little adventure.
I'm excited.
Thanks to you.
You're welcome. My pleasure, I mean it.
Thank you.